Okay, trying to see if okay. I think we're live now. All right. Hello, everybody. Just want to welcome you to our live today. And our live today, we're going to talk about I have a seed. So we'll definitely unpack that once we do our introduction. So I am Chance Johnson, the life excavator.
I'm Kendrick Bailey, the Life Doctor.
And I'm Jeffrey Hart, the life champion.
All right. So uh, we didn't do a live last Monday, so we had a break for Memorial Day. Hopefully, you all had a great day as well. That was our first break from a live since January, so we've been rolling for a while. So I think we needed a little break as well to kind of reset and kind of regroup. But basically, um, each one of us are just our nation and our world as a whole. It's a lot of things going on right now, and people have all kinds of feelings and emotions about that. Uh, about what can they do, what to do, kind of a starting point. How can they get involved, or just how to just deal and cope with just everyday life in this environment. And one of the things, if you didn't watch it last night, you need to. But I had a chance to watch the verses last night with Kurt Franklin and Fred Hammond, and it definitely was something that I needed. I didn't know I needed it. I didn't know I needed to hear them song, but I needed to hear them song. Uh, and to just hear them talk about different things and the guests that they had, you know, whatever they had to give, they gave. So they gave the gift of song and ministry to people on live, and it touched so many people. And like I was just looking at the comments that were coming in, like a lot of people, they were like, "Man, this made me want to go back to church. This made me want to get right with God. Like this made me want to do a lot of different things." But they used what they had, and so they had me thinking, well, and we've kind of had internal conversations uh, in the business about, well, how do we want to have a conversation about this? Because we don't want to be reactive, we want to be proactive. So it's like, well, what can we give to people now that will help benefit them? And so just reflecting back on the verses last night, like it really gave me a source of like not just contentment, but it was like a renewal for me. Uh, and if you're in a situation where you're trying to do something to kind of better people, or you're just trying to give to other people, sometimes you don't know if what you're doing is beneficial to people until you do it. And so, if I wouldn't have logged on and just watched it, it would have been something I missed. But they used they used their gift to really give it to other people. And so, with the idea of a seed, you think of a seed as being small, uh, but we all have something to contribute, and it's something that's unique to us that other people need. And the way we want to talk about it, and we'll get into it as we roll further into this topic, is, well, what can each one of us do to kind of contribute to the greater good right now? Because we don't want to allow what's going on around us to distract us from the ways that we can be helpful right now. So we don't have to wait, and we shouldn't wait for somebody to save us, uh, or a great leader to come up and lead us. We are our own leaders. We are our own saviors, and the pieces that we have and the environment that we're in, we can help and change and shape those just with our individual things. So I'll stop talking for right now and let everybody else go in. But I just kind of wanted to give some context because we did want to have a conversation, but we wanted to have a conversation that was more proactive and it kind of gave people empowerment. So
Okay. Like I said, I definitely like the way you framed everything, Terrence. We always talk about, everybody having a purpose. And I think, I have a seed, directly, correlates, to purpose, because we have to cultivate once you plant a seed, you got to cultivate it. You got to make sure you water, you got to make sure you get the right nourishment. But, everybody has a purpose, and I think everybody feels compelled to, do things now, because I definitely think, I posted there's a shift happening, and I think, a shift just represents change in people's lives. And there's a lot of people that's out there, doing a lot of positive things, to build up their communities and to do the work that they feel is going to move people forward. And so I can, applaud, everyone for the efforts. And, one of the things, I posted in the Take the Journey group this weekend is that, I felt full, like emotionally, it was I could, kind of, feel the pain and, heartache and sadness and experiences people were going through. And then you had the conversation, what do we need to do about it? And so I think everybody is essential into making change. Regardless of what you do, it's essential. And everybody, change or actions are not going to look the same. But I definitely think it's a purpose forward. And I think, we need to join and connect with like minds, but also, educate people about purpose. So I'll let Jeffrey, add, that, because I don't know.
you handed off the baton to him. You did your leg and you handed it off to him. So yeah.
I see one thing that I just been sitting there thinking about, in the Bible when it talks about having that mustard seed faith, but I want to look at it as, the actual seed itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, they say mustard seed is real small,
Right?
But the mustard tree is really big.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like each one of us has, something small in us that we can give positively that can grow much bigger.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, at this point and what's going on in the world right now, what little small piece of positivity that we can give to someone else, and hopefully that it grows into more positivity. It's kind of remind me of that saying, each one teach one. So if every one of us can, give a little piece of positivity to somebody else, I think we'll be amazed at what can grow and come out of it.
Right. And I think that illustration that you just gave is perfect, and it kind of leads into a quote that I had pulled up, and I was going to pull it up. So it says, the day you plant the seed is not the day you eat the fruit. And that's significant because you never know what that little encouragement you can give somebody, what it can bear in the future. And we're all in the position that we're in because somebody planted a seed in us, and they saw something in us, and they kind of poured into us. And so, just like what Kendi was saying before, with the people that's on the front lines of a lot of this work, they need encouragement too, and they need something to kind of get to the next stage. And is with the mustard seed, the mustard seed, like what Jerry was saying, if you have the faith of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. So you think about it, that's not a lot of faith. And even with what you have, you can still move mountains. So even though it seems like we have a lot of mountains in our life, a lot of people, it's not for us to necessarily have the solution to move it. We have to have the faith that the mountain will be able to be moved, not necessarily just by my own might, but because I'm connected to either other people or my faith or whatever, that whatever this situation is, even though it may seem overwhelming, you might feel like a sense of desperation. That doesn't mean that that mountain can't move. And so yeah, I like that. I was thinking about that earlier. So when you said, I was like, see that?
Yeah.
Like, he had a word today. He already striking today.
And then I add to what you said, T. I think there's a lot of people out there that has the vision, but they've been keeping it to themselves. And one of the things we talked about a lot is when you feel compelled to do something, everybody, or somebody needs what you have in your head, or somebody needs what you feel compelled to do. And so, that's why we have to sometimes, take action in regards to the things that we're thinking about. Don't hold on to the good stuff that other people could benefit from because of, maybe you feel like it won't be well received. Somebody need it. And so we got to, get engaged in not, filtering ourselves in regards to what we have to offer because we may think it has no value, because somebody is going to really value, that's something that you have to give because you can confirm something about their experiences.
Yeah. One thing, and I was thinking about it. I don't know if I wrote this down last night or this morning, but it's always the sense of, well, I don't have what I need right now to make a difference. I'm waiting till I get myself in position. And so the thing I wanted to share was you don't have to be perfect to have a platform.
Yeah.
And I say it again, you don't have to be perfect to have a platform. Nothing about what we did when we first started out doing these lives was perfect. We've had some real bad lives. I've had a real bad life before. But it doesn't mean that people didn't connect with us or resonate with what we were talking about. And we're seeing the fruit of that and being obedient to that and just being available. And as we've gotten better, then the messages that we're trying to convey, they get stronger and stronger and they get clearer, but we had to start somewhere. So everything that's going on, I know it's overwhelming and it's like, well, how can I help? What can I do? Or where do I start? And sometimes it might be just starting in your area of your sphere of influence. So if you're on a job, if you let's still have a job, you might be bringing more awareness in that space.
Yeah.
Or just say if you're a lawyer or you're in the legal system or whatever, it may be some things that you could do to directly influence that, that area, that industry or whatever, regarding what's going on. And so it's not that you have to wait. You just might need to identify what piece of what you do can directly translate to what's going on now.
Kind of, piggyback off of that, your circle of influence, whatever. I think if everyone started in their own home, preaching, love and peace and everything like that, if you start in the home, and I just think a lot of the issues that we may have, wouldn't be, quite as bad as they are right now if it started, right in the home.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. That's something my granddad used to always say. He always used to say it starts at the house. So it's like, if you got kids, if you fussing at them outside the house, you wasn't doing it in the house. So if you did right at the house with them, they wouldn't be acting no outside the house.
Right.
I always say so. Yeah, anything it starts at the house. If you do what you need to do at home, with your friend, with your family, with your children, or whatever like that, then some of these issues and concerns won't be like they are now. So yeah, I agree with that. All right, so I wanted to. I kind of had this. We kind of talked about it yesterday, in Sunday school, and I was talking to it with my Sunday school student, and it had in like my teacher's guide about some ways to talk to them about the lesson, and it was about doing for others or how can you uh, be helpful in different ways. And so it had three different ways, and we'll have a chart that we'll make available so you can kind of download if you want to go through this and just start to list some things down. But it's three areas. So it's your hands, it's your head, and it's your heart. So if you look at, well, what can my hands create physically? Like, what can I do? Maybe it's for me to go and volunteer and help give away some food, or to maybe help give masks out, or whatever that is that I can physically do with my hands. That might be for me to do. And even though it might seem small, you just never know what your contribution will be to help what's going on right now. The other thing is your head. One thing is a lot of us have been bombarded by so much media content, and it's just what's going on. We see riots, we see, all this different stuff visually, and it's getting us overwhelmed in our thoughts. And so, one, have to be real mindful of what thoughts are you having in your head, but also, why don't you redirect those thoughts into thinking about ways to be of service, or creating, thinking about something that could be a plan of action for somebody. So just redirecting your thoughts, because we all know when we get real anxious or we get nervous or whatever, our thoughts just keep going, and they just go, and then you just become overwhelmed. And then it's like with the heart, what are some things that are close to your heart as far as the issues are concerned? Are you concerned about, you know, social justice? Are you concerned about education and how the kids are going to be educated in this climate? Whatever is close to your heart, start trying to figure out, well, how can I connect to this group? Maybe I want to connect to some teachers and just give them encouragement and say, like, hey, you're doing a good job. Or I appreciate you taking time out with my child, even though I know it was, these are kind of uncertain times. You still made sure to make sure my child was educated, or learn what they need to learn. Or it may be just encouraging people that that are doing things, and say, like, hey, is there something I can do to help? Or can I help get the word out about what you're doing, or whatever like that? I see you doing good work. And I think those are ways that we can start to do a plan of action. Because I know that's what me and Kendrick have had. Well, we kind of had an internal conversation, all three of us. And I was like, I don't want to just have conversations just to have them. I want to have people leave with something, action step, because we can talk about things, we can talk about issues, and we can vent. But then after we vent, then what else are we going to do? Because we'll vent and then we'll still be upset, or all those emotions that still linger. We got to have some movement towards something. So this right here we'll have available. So these are just some things you can start, just a little quick thing you could jot down, some thoughts or some actions that you can do in these three areas. And like I said, you might want to share it with some other people. And so you can have a dialogue, conversation about, okay, what are some things we could do in these three areas? So, um, so yeah, I transition out of that. I just wanted to bring that up.
No, those some definitely some good points. Hands, head, heart. Like I said, well, the biggest thing is not being stagnant. If you feel like there's something that you're compelled to do, journal about it. Come up with your plan on how you want to execute it. And like I said earlier I said everybody is essential into making change, and everyone is not excluding anyone. Everyone is just what it says. And so but we definitely have to be in spaces, because I know some of us right now in spaces at work and in spaces on a daily basis, and just not feeling, great. And so I think, reaching out to, people that can be a sounding board or can hear, kind of what your experience is or what you're going through. Because like I said, even I was full, on this weekend, I had to talk with someone about, just kind of the things that was going on in my head and, being a part of the solution and focusing on change, and our name says it best, our progress. We're always looking for ways to move forward. And ultimately, we focus on the community. And so we have to get everybody in, our communities or in communities in general involved, to make change. This isn't one person that has to do something. This is everybody, collectively working towards, a common goal. And then, after, that common goal is established, we got to focus on maintaining, things. So, like I said, definitely have dialogue around things. If you want to join us on different live conversations, to just talk about some of your experiences, it's important for us to share those because we don't want people, everybody experience is different during these times. And we want to give people the opportunity to talk about their experiences because if you don't talk about your experiences, those experiences can, definitely prolong your suffering or prolong the heartache that you're experiencing currently.
All right, so I have a quick question. With everything that's going on, it just seemed like most of the issues are so deeply rooted.
Mm-hmm.
I guess what's some of the things that we can do to, I guess, dig a little bit deeper to try to pull some of that stuff out, if that makes sense.
I think one of the biggest things with people right now is when people, feel like they're not being heard, and they don't have a voice, or no one is listening. People, can only take so much for so long, and then they are gonna react, and so a lot of people have a lot of emotions about what's happening right now, and I think that's part of what we're seeing. You only can keep people in a certain position for so long, and then things happen.
Okay. What I was thinking about, and we've talked about this internally, uh, about a seat at the table. I think a lot of like what Kendrick was saying, and kind of like what Jeff was saying, a lot of people they're frustrated because they're not getting a seat at the table to talk about exactly what's really going on. And a lot of times it seems as if it's a we're getting invited to the table, but a lot of times people are just getting invited to the room and they don't ever get a seat at the table. And so it's like we would put you in the room to make it seem like you have a seat, but you're just a prop
Yeah.
and you don't have a voice. And so I think that's where the frustration comes in. So, and we've talked about this, is well, instead of waiting to get a seat at the table, why don't we find people that's like-minded and create a table for that conversation? So then we can strengthen our voice, because if individually we trying to go into these rooms and get a seat at these tables that we're not getting a seat at, why not come together and create a table where it's equal, and then we got more numbers to then have a bigger voice when we do go and talk about some of these other things. And so I think that's one thing, as far as trying to figure out who do we need to collaborate with that are like-minded and have the same passions and values, and they really want to see a change. and start to have those conversations to build those collaborations, because I can be frustrated and upset and I react, but my voice will get drowned out from everything else that's going on. If I get a whole like a coalition of people that's like-minded, now our voice is stronger, but we also have some kind of plan of action. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question.
No, that make a lot of sense, and I wanted to hit back on the point. Seat at the table is important, but the weight you carry when you're in that seat is important, and so people have to understand if that seat is a distraction or that seat is actually going to be able to carry some weight and make change. Because sometimes the seats you get, or you have an opportunity to have, are just a distraction, just to say, "Hey, we got a seat at the table." And then so you hit on some create your own table. I think everybody has the ability to create their own table. And so that's you starting your initiative to actually go about and do the change that you want to make. So instead of talking about it, do the things that you seek out to do and be the change that you want to see in the world. And I repeat that: be the change that you want to see in the world. Because after we say everything we have to say, we have to then take action to be positive change and work with other allies or work with other people to go about getting those changes enacted or helping those changes come to fruition.
Yeah, and one thing to add about that, it's also good to have diversity at your table too, because that could be the other side to it. You could recreate a table that looks like the table that you were excluded from too, and you don't want to repeat the same thing, because really when you inviting people to have a seat at the table, you value their input and you value their voice. If you're inviting people to have a seat at your table and you still not gonna allow them to have a voice, then you're not inviting them to the table,
Yeah.
because you really don't care what they had to contribute. And so I think that's the piece that we need to look at too. Well, if we're gonna have a table, is everybody gonna be heard at that table? And then how can we then get a message across that will be strengthened
Yeah.
by people at the table?
And then I guess the other layer to that, when we talk about diversity is definitely important, but we always talking about pouring into other people and then allow other people to pour into you. So when you have that table, you don't. It's important to have people of different levels at the table. So you need people that you pour into, and then you need people that pour into you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all classes of people at that table, because it's not a balanced table if everybody's at the top.
Yeah.
So you got to have people at different degrees or different levels of the struggle at your table, because they see things that you don't see, and they have a different glimpse of what you don't see. So their reality is going to be different from your reality. And so it's good to have all those perspectives, at that table, because then you go about making effective change. But if everybody at the table is the same, you get the same type of things that's continue to move along. So take that for what it's worth.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's
Yeah.
good.
Good stuff.
Look, I'm trying to show. I'm gonna show some of these comments. That's what I'm going back to. So I'm gonna show some of these comments right here. But yeah, I mean, in essence, that's really what you want, because you don't want to. I think we've been conditioned to feel that we have to have one person to kind of lead a movement, and we're always waiting. This person like, oh, a leader like this, a leader like that, a leadership like this and that, and all of those, um, all of those movements happen because of the collective people. So even though one person might be more known, it wasn't just them doing it. And I
Yeah.
think now we have a way to really spread information and communicate a lot faster with technology, but using it in a way that we navigate around getting pulled into tug of war situations because we got a viewpoint and somebody else got a viewpoint. Now I'm trying to get my point across versus trying to understand the whole situation, because each one of us, we respond to what's going on differently because of the context of where we grew up, our environment, our education, or whatever. So if we all have the same background and stuff, well, that's not gonna move anything forward because we're all gonna have blind spots that we need other people and collaborate them to give us a piece of that.
Yeah.
And we can't allow our emotions to cloud sound judgment.
Yeah.
And yeah, would you go? You had something to say?
Yeah, you brought up a good point, man.
Okay.
Tug of war. Tug of war is an excellent example to to make this next point. We talk about tug of war. Sometimes we have to let go of the rope, and that's when we win. Well, an example of letting go of the rope to win, you let go of the rope to create your own table because you stop trying to fight the battles at the old table. You let go of the rope and you change your mentality to create your own table, and you create the system that allows others to see what positive change looks like. Because, like I said, we have to work together, but we also have to have strategies on how to make improvements. Because we can go out there and not have a strategy and we can get the same results, but we can really have a strategy to move us forward and to do it in a way that we want to kind of embody to the rest of the world or to the rest of communities. You there?
He kind of breaking up.
I think you breaking up. All right, Terrence breaking up right now. I think he's gonna log off and we'll check out and check back in. So yeah, we do hear from all the people that's listening right now. Kind of what are your thoughts on today's topic, and what are you gonna do to make positive change to join in and help everybody in this effort. Jeffrey, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here, man.
And one other thing that add to that, I know we were talking about the table.
He's still kind of breaking
Aaron, I think you still breaking up.
up.
I'm gonna text him, Jeff. What you got? I'm gonna text Terrence real quick.
Okay. Let's see. One of the things that I was saying to think about, my wife went to a training not too long ago, and she was talking about equality versus equity. And so one of the examples that they gave was like, okay, say, and well, I guess this could be an example. Say you take me, my son, and my little daughter, right? And we're trying to look over a fence. Well, equality says that, we each get the same height of stool in order to look over the fence. Well, with me being taller than them, I can see over the fence, but they won't be able to. So what she was saying is what we essentially want is equity, which will be the same amount in order to see over that fence. So give me like the little box to see over. My son would need more to look over it, and my daughter would need a little bit more to look over. At this point, we're all equal, and we're all looking over the fence like we want to. So with us talking about, having a seat at the table, it's essentially, do we want equality or do we want equity? If that makes sense.
All right. I'm trying to see if anybody in our audience, anybody's listening, if they posted any questions or anything like that. Let me see. All right. Now I'm seeing questions right now. But so, like I said, as we continue to go live, just add your thoughts to the comment section and our progress page. As we're having this discussion, and again, like we talked about, be the change that you want to see in the world. Everybody has a platform. Everybody has a purpose. Everybody has a piece to the puzzle in making change. And I think we just have to be positive and productive into making those changes, because ultimately we have to work together, and by doing that we can kind of see in the communities by taking action what that change will look like.
Exactly. So I guess let me ask you this, man. I think I asked this in the group text that we had. It just seemed like, man, we on this never ending cycle. Where it's like every so often this particular issue that's going on in the world just keeps coming back up. So like I said, man, it's like what can we do to break this cycle, man?
I think we talk about it all the time. We have to connect intentionally, and we have to not look at people for what we see in each other that are different, but we have to find commonalities in one another, and we got to be able to talk about different perspectives, because everybody goes through life through their own lenses and they see things a certain way. But I think we have to be empathetic and not sympathetic, because empathy is putting yourself in others' positions, and you kind of can feel and absorb their sadness, their hurt, or their pain. And I think we need more empathetic people in this world that understand it from that dynamics. And I think we need more people that don't want to minimize people's experiences. Like, I think that's something terrible that we can do. We minimize other people's experiences, and I don't want to do that to people because I hadn't walked in their shoes. So I can't tell them what life feels like for them. But what I can do, I can appreciate them coming to me and having a talk with me and trusting me with their experiences and trying to help them move forward. I think we don't allow each other the ability to voice the concerns or share their story. And then Terrence talked about buried dreams. That becomes buried experiences, and so people are holding on to all that hurt, that trauma, and that pain. And when it's boarded up so long, and when you're backed into a corner, sometimes it unravels and it's unleashed. And I think everybody has the ability to be empathetic, whether we choose to or not. I think we just need more empathetic people in this world that's willing to understand people's experiences, join with them in hearing their story, but focusing on, the positive change that we need? I know that was a long answer. My bad, Jeffrey.
Nah, you good, man.
Like I missed a couple.
Terrence, you back, man?
I missed a couple things. I don't know. Was that another? Was it a question you asked?
Yeah, that was a question Jeffrey asked.
While I was out.
Yeah, go. You can ask Terrence again though, Jeffrey.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was just I think I mentioned the other day in our group text about, it just seems like we're in this never ending cycle of this issue that we have going on. So I was just, asking Kendra, like what can we do to break the cycle, man?
Yeah. I like what Kendra said about buried experiences. Like that's good. And I think because we've sat with stuff for so long that now it's almost like it's kind of a volcano. You usually think of a volcano got magma for so long being suppressed, and then the right things happen and it just erupts. And I think now we're in a phase of where everybody's kind of their emotions are erupting.
Yeah.
We having that emotional impact right now.
Yeah.
That is just
Yeah. But I also think that it's because I think a lot of times our pain hasn't been it hasn't necessarily been addressed, or feel like it's our pain. We feel like our pain has been invisible to people. And so that's the reason why it's harder for us to express it in ways to do all those things. But it's the fact that having avenues to actually to vent those things out in a positive way. So just like we were talking about having a seat at the table, is like, well, how can we release these things in control settings to where it won't be an eruption, but to kind of prevent a mass eruption, kind of like what we have now. So because we haven't had those positive outlets of material, I think we're working to create those things now. That's what we need to stop all of these mass eruptions of emotions from happening. But because everything everybody's experiencing is valid, we can't just put a cap on it. But we don't want to, if we're going to experience pain, we don't want to lose the lesson from the pain. And so if we're going to have to be in pain, let's use it for something that's positive.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense. I'm not trying to make it connect.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah, man.
Your pain serves a purpose. I think you said it on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. Well, don't waste your pain or something, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said something about learning from your pain, or
yeah. Well, I guess it's just like, don't miss the lesson that your pain is telling you.
Right. Yeah.
They're trying to get you to understand. Because I mean, that's basically at the core. We can look at this as a chance to reset, because it's pain that we haven't learned from yet. And that's how, like Kenny was saying, that's how we keep getting in these cycles, because we haven't. And it's not just all about healing from pain. It's also about transferring the positive aspects about what lessons can be applied to future generations, because we want the next generation to be better. So if we don't want to continue to have these cycles of unrest, then the next generation will need to have more equipment to go forward.
Okay. Like I said, that's good stuff. I thought T was about to go in for another 5 minutes, so I was about to let you go.
I'm trying to be good. I'm trying not to have long monologue.
Sometimes it's just meant for you to go for about 2 to 3 minutes. And I was prepared to let you go. So
yeah, I mean, I
You
kind of
got the word for it, so let 'em have it.
got on my flow when my computer went off, so
So that's why I'm trying to let
back
you.
into the conversation.
So that's why I'm trying to let you get back and say all the stuff that you were saying, because I know you was dropping some good knowledge. And it's unfortunate that you had to, the troubleshoot your computer. So everything that you were saying then, let it go.
Okay, I did. What I was gonna say before I went out to go back to the table, and it's the visual of just us being kids and having to go to the cafeteria. And when you went to the cafeteria, you would have your certain table that you went to.
Yeah.
But you also knew the tables that you couldn't go to.
Yeah.
I think in this season right here, if you're going to create a table for the people that nobody else wants to give a seat to.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you start figuring out who needs to be at the table with you is people that nobody else wants to give a chance and doesn't allow them to speak from their perspective and give their story, because we just know it's certain people that are not they're not allowed to have a voice, and they're not seen, they're not deemed as important. Or even with the terms we use now, like some people have always been non-essential.
Yeah.
And even without a pandemic, they've been non-essential.
Let me add this to you, because it's something just compelling me to say this, and I gotta say it. I've been trying to put it off. The oppressed have to be really careful not to become the oppressor, because after you experience so much hardship and pain, you don't want to go back and inflict the same pain on other people as what was done to you, and become that person, because then you don't become yourself, you become somebody else. And so that's why it's important to diversify your table, and give everybody a voice at the table. I'm gonna shut up.
All right, we had oh, go ahead, Kendrick. I mean, Kev. I'm not Kev. I'm saying
No, but Kendrick was talking about, be careful for the oppressed to become the oppressor. It kind of remind me of in the movie Black Panther, and I like to thank my son for this, because he has watched this movie like for 100 times in the last month. But Killmonger, when he came to Wakanda, basically, he had been out killing and everything all over the world. And one of the lines he said was, all this killing and everything that I've done, and he's talking to T'Challa, all of this that I've done is so that I can come back and kill you. So, and I think it was one part, T'Challa told him, like, you become just like, the people that you've been around. So I don't know if I tied that in real well, but that kind of goes along the lines of,
Now I like that, because so what I wanted to add to that is, Killmonger wanted to take his birthright. So I take it again. He wanted to take his birthright. What he didn't realize is that he already had it. He wanted to take something he already had, and it changed his mentality, because he was already a Wakandan. He already could have had everything they had. He just wanted to take it over. And we got to understand, everybody has a birthright. We just don't know it. And what do we choose to do with it? Because we don't look at what our birthright is.
I didn't think about it like that. Good point, man.
See, okay. That's good. I'm gonna come back to that, but so I put this question from Brian up, and I had to think about it. So as y'all were talking, I was kind of focused on this. So I'll kind of start off with this question. But is even if you get a new table, you still have to work with the other table. Now what? So I had a chance to, if you're not familiar with Kevin on Stage is like a Christian comedian where he had a conference, like an online conference Saturday that I watched. And he actually had Kirk Franklin on there then. And he was talking about what Kevin State was just asking him is like, you created so many great songs that have impacted so many people. Like, do you get, do you get some moments where you just like, well, I just, I'm just doing all this stuff. Like I'm great because of this stuff. And he said, you know what? He said, it's not me. It's like God gives them to me. Every song that I've written, I don't have ownership of. God just loans them to me. And when he said that, I was like, huh. But now with Brian's question, it gives me another perspective of the table you create versus the table that you're trying to either get. I want to say attention from, but it's like the table you've been excluded from. Usually tables are created for control. But if you creating your table as you're doing it because it's something that's loaned to you, you're just the vessel or the conduit for it. Nobody can take that table because it's not a table of control. It's a table of shared. I don't say equality, but it's a shared collective. And so the people are more important than the table. And I think if you're trying to figure, it's like, well, if we just get a seat at the table, it's more or less trying to get them to see that we have value. Where at the table that you create, if it starts with the value, the control of the table doesn't have weight to it. So it doesn't matter if this table that you're trying to get noticed by sees you or not. All they're trying to do is keep control of their table. So what you have to do is just be a conduit and a vessel for the thing or the cause that you're trying to achieve. And I think that gives you a lot more power with it because you're just doing the work.
Yeah. And then you made me think of table and then foundation. When you establish your table, make sure the foundation has the principles in, make sure you know the principles in advance and make sure you have a stable foundation when you develop your table. Because, I think back to King Arthur, he had the Knights of the Round Table and everybody at that table was equal. Nobody was more important than the other person, and everybody had a voice to, say and how things were going to happen. I think we need to establish a Knights of the Round Table, universally, because everybody, got to have a voice, and nobody's voice should outweigh the other person's voice, and I think it's all about perspective. Me, I'm getting ready to retire in December, from the military. I'm giving up that seat at the table because, for me, I would have done 22 years. It's time for me to do something else. My seat, now has to focus on something else that I'm passionate about and that I had to move forward. I did, great service and it was a great time in being in the military. Now I just know it's time to serve somebody else and do the right thing and help move people forward, but focus on building, a better community. And so, that's what we're doing now.
Okay, I wanted to go back to what you said about birthright because I couldn't let that one go. I was gonna come back to that. I had to say what I said about the table, then I had to circle back to that. So with birthright, a lot of us, we give up what we already inherently have to chase what other people think we should have. Because when we're younger, we already have a certain set of skills, talents, whatever that's inherent, like just been passed down to us. Life buries those things as we grow older, whether challenging us or loss or whatever else. But right now, we're fighting because we're fighting for rights, but we're forgetting that we already inherently have them and we don't operate from those. And so it's like we're fighting for people to give us things that we already have, but we've forgotten that we have. So like nobody can take away like our intellect and our thoughts. Nobody can hack your thoughts, at least to not this point. I don't know, technology might do some stuff later, but at this point, nobody can take your thoughts. So if your thoughts are in alignment to where you're trying to go, it's not negated by the environments that you find yourself in.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the things and a lot of the movements happen in spite of the environment, but it was because a thought and or idea became something that other people could get connected to.
Yeah.
And they didn't just sit in somebody's head. They had to be put down on paper and then enacted for it to go forward. So it's not that you don't have value or we don't have value. We've forgotten that we had value and we've been expecting other people to value us more than we should value our own self.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I think that's a lie in itself, understanding the birthright. That's a heavy thing because, like you said, a lot of times we don't understand what we already have. We fighting for something that you already got, and we just have to look at things, and take a different perspective. So I definitely appreciate the discussion today. Y'all definitely have dropped some gems. I thank everybody for the questions, the comments. I think this was a powerful discussion. I think we fit on a lot of great points. We talked about the importance of, diversity. We talked about the importance of, establishing and creating your own, and not, I guess creating the same patterns or doing the same negative things that maybe was done to you. So man, I appreciate this discussion.
Yeah, I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I know I was out for a couple minutes. I hate I was out because I missed a chunk of it that I wanted to be a part of. But I did want to one thing that we've been talking about internally, and it's something that we're gonna start adding. We did a live a while ago about like life's playlist and kind of went through songs that kind of motivate us.
Yeah.
And so what we're gonna do is start sharing songs with you all, and eventually, like we'll be asking for you all to kind of give us some songs too that we can kind of add. But just from the verses last night, I was like, yeah, I want to start giving some songs out. So these are three that I chose. One is Molly Music, Way for You. You can find it on YouTube. He didn't officially, release this one, but you can hear it live. Hear the live version of it. PJ Morton, Everything's Gonna Be All Right. Definitely want to check that out. The one that I want you to check out is the piano album version of it. So they just released, like, I think beginning of this year, like late last year. That's good. And then Kirk Franklin's Just For Me. And you can check that out. So those are three songs, and we'll probably post it in the write-up for the live once we get off of the replay. So if you want to check those out, we'll definitely put them in the Take the Journey group. And then we want to start having this as a weekly thing in the Take the Journey group where you share songs, share things that might uplift, encourage other people, because we want to start to create more dialogue between the members in the Take the Journey group so you can start motivating, encouraging each other. So I just wanted to share that. And the little chart, this chart here that I talked about earlier, that will be available as a PDF too. So if you want that to start jotting some ideas down, we'll have that available too. And it'll be in the Take the Journey group too.
Yeah. And I posted my 3 songs in the live comment section. So
okay, I'm about to put it up. I'm about to put it up now. Hold on, let me go through these comments. Okay, there you go. Yeah. Say Marvin Sapp actually sung that on the version last night.
So as always, folks, be encouraged, be the change that you want to see in the world, be productive, have a sounding board for the things that you experience or that you're struggling with. And remember, build the community that you want to see for the future.
And to kind of go back with the title of the live today, what seeds are you going to plant?
There you go.
What seeds are you going to plant? Are you going to plant positive seeds or negative seeds? Choice is yours.
That's good. I like it. That's good. That's good.
We will see y'all on Thursday.
All right.
All right.